The outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Good morning, Northeast Radio SD. Well, welcome to a new program. This is the Entrepreneur's Edge, Dream, Start, Grow. We're joined by a regional director of the Small Business Development Center, Dr. Melissa Meidinger. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you for joining us. So, did I get your title correct?
You did.
Okay.
Very well done.
Thank you. So, you're the regional director of Small Business Development Center, and that's through the Beacom business at USD?
Yes. So, back when the BDCs were created, there was a concerted effort to put them with universities to connect the talent that they have in that university system with the students and the new entrepreneurs, small business owners, to see if there is some collaboration there. And so in the state of South Dakota, the school that took us on was USD. And so that's really how we got housed under USD.
Okay. So when it comes to small business and you're not quite sure, or, well, you've got the dream, right? So we know what we want to do. We think we've got a great idea. So I guess what's the next step? Do we just call, look you up?
Yeah, so the Small Business Development Center, what we do is we really help entrepreneurs and small business owners to make better informed decisions and to help them really identify key areas in their business where they need maybe help. A lot of our clients are going to be referrals from our local lenders to create a business plan and financial projections for that process to obtain capital. One of the most daunting pieces of entrepreneurship in small business, I believe, for new people is that writing of the business plan and the financial projections. Where do you begin? And that's really our niche. We have 6 offices, district offices in the state, and all of my colleagues are just they're the best. We pride ourselves on being able to guide entrepreneurs on writing a professional business plan that not only helps them in the process of gaining capital, but also helps them become the expert on their business. We address things like target market, competitors, pricing, how are you going to enter the market, what sort of legal structure makes sense for your type of business, insurance questions, we can relate some of that information to them. And then the financial projections, that's really the scary part, is how I don't even know where to begin. And we have a solid program that really helps us break down each individual pieces of with our client that makes it more manageable. And we actually create those projections with their input. And then the best part about that is then we walk through those projections with our clients so they become more aware of what that financial piece looks like and understands it a little bit more. A lot of businesses, they're successful, but you ask them about anything number related or accounting related, and they all just say it goes to my accounting and my accountant. And I feel like one of the smartest things you can do as a small business owner is really to understand that financial process within your own organization. And that's one of the key, marquee things that we do.
So when you are, not everyone, but a lot of people say, I'm no good at math or that's not my thing. But maybe with a little bit of assistance with today's technology or programs like your QuickBooks, et cetera, you find now more people can grasp the financial side of it a little easier than before?
Well, I really just don't think there's any education on the financial aspect of owning a business, unless you go to school for business, perhaps. But let's be honest, most entrepreneurs are doing something that they're passionate about, they're excited about, they're creating a widget, they're providing a service. They didn't go to business school to do that, create that widget. They were building the widget or creating that service. So that financial piece isn't something that they've really had a lot of discussion about. And so that's really something I think is really important for entrepreneurs, small business owners, and anyone interested in owning a business, is to really take a few minutes to understand that financial piece.
So what if you do have an individual that comes in and they have the dream, and maybe it's just not maybe the best idea, or maybe it is a great idea, but it just might not be profitable? Do you sometimes, you have to have those hard conversations with people as well?
Yeah, I would hope that through the research that we do for the business planning and the financial projections, that the entrepreneur will recognize that maybe this isn't the right time for them. But I always believe that it's always good to learn about how to start a small business. It's always good to foster that knowledge within people, because just as the mayor who was just previously in here said, we have to grow our own communities organically from within. And the only way you do that is with entrepreneurs who are willing to take a risk. And so developing that knowledge that, you know what, maybe this isn't the right time for this business. Maybe this isn't the right time for you. But that seed has been planted, and maybe in 5 years, 6 years, that'll be the right time. Or maybe someone they know, it might be the right time for someone they know to start a business, and they can help them in that process and water that seed.
Very good. So when you do have somebody come in, I don't know if you ever have people come in with an idea on a napkin, if they're even...
Oh, absolutely. They're my favorite.
Yeah. Okay. So the napkin guy comes in and says, all right, here's what it is. What do I do? You'll take that person from not even step one and guide them all the way to the bank.
Absolutely. Entrepreneurship and small business, really what you're doing there is solving a problem. And so the first question I would ask that new entrepreneur is, what problem are you solving? And then who are you solving that problem for? And we work through that. What I would say is customer discovery. Where does our product fit into what is already out there? And we work through the whole gamut of the business planning piece, so that not only do they have that napkin with that sketch, but now they have an understanding of their industry, their product, their target market, their competitors, and how they are going to infiltrate that market.
Well, so maybe there's a little myth out there that people think that you need a massive inheritance or a lot of money to start a business. But last year alone, you helped raise over $16 million or so. Is that sound right?
So the one of the things that the South Dakota SBDC is, we track metrics for our funding, and our statewide metrics for last year. At the statewide level, we served over 1,000 clients. We helped 78 business starts and raised over $70 million in capital for entrepreneurs just in the state of South Dakota. So my region has 10 counties, from all the way up from here, all the way down to Flandreau over to DeSmet. And in our specific region, we served my regional office served 151 clients. We had 17 business starts within our counties, and we raised $16.9 million of capital for our entrepreneurs. And one of the great things that I take pride in is that all 10 counties of mine were represented represented with clients served, meaning that even the rural counties that don't have a lot of individuals, there are still people out there in those counties wanting to make an impact on their local economy by starting businesses. And that's pretty amazing.
Wow. So now let's say somebody listening is a little overwhelmed with all the paperwork that it takes to kind of start up one of these and get that rolling. Is that something that you can help simplify as well?
Absolutely. We walk through everything from how to file your name with the state of South Dakota, apply for your EIN number if you want to do an LLC, how to do that, how to apply for your sales tax license. If you are in the food and lodging industry, you have to have a health inspection and how to go through that process. And there's different industries that have different regulations and different standards which they have to adhere to. And if we don't know the answer, the best part of my role is I have colleagues across the state who have years of experience and that has touched every industry possible out there. And so if I don't have the answer, it's a quick email to my colleagues and I will get the answer.
Nice. With your background in leadership, what is the most important mindset shift a new owner needs to make when they go from employee to boss?
I don't know if this is the mind shift that you're asking about, but the one thing that I always tell people is that failing is really the first step in success. And so I always say fail fast and fail forward, meaning that every time something doesn't work, and that's going to happen, what did you learn from it? How can you change the results the next time? Or what can we do differently the next time to make this better? I think entrepreneurs tend to live on a little island where they don't want to appear to not have it all together. And that's the exact opposite. Entrepreneurship and small business ownership is messy. Mm-hmm. And you're not an island. You have to have a network that surrounds you, that can support you in areas that you aren't maybe necessarily the expert in. And I think that it's hard for entrepreneurs to ask for help. And so that would be my advice. Fail fast, fail forward, and always be willing to ask questions and ask advice. Create a solid core advisory board around you that you can reach out and have what I call honest conversations. What I see is typically entrepreneurs, things will start going, not as well. And they just kind of live with it. And then it continues down that path. But the moment that it starts to go not as well, who can you reach out to get advice in that moment? Who can you reach out that can maybe help you in that moment? Asking for help is the bravest and smartest thing that you can ever do.
All right. Very good. So now let's talk a little bit on if you were looking at growing. We focus a lot on the new starts, but you also help retain hundreds of jobs as well. So when it's kind of a tight labor market, like South Dakota has, what are you advising Watertown business owners to do to keep some of the best employees?
Well, what I always encourage people is to invest in your own. It is way easier to hire within than it is to hire outside your organization. And so really developing the employees that you have internally through, skills, professional development, those types of things, looking for those opportunities. The younger generation out there, which is going to be our top demographic for the workforce in the upcoming years, they want employers who invest in them. They want a career path. They don't just want a career. They want a career path. And so successful entrepreneurs and small business owners who are retaining their employees are investing in their employees.
Very good. And now if you're also talking a little bit about results, you have partners in town that are business owners that have, you have a personal board. You were talking about like a personal, it's almost like a circle, right? You have this circle, your own advisory board.
Mm-hmm.
So the dangers of having your circle that, I can't think of the term, but it's where, what you hear is what you want to hear.
Right.
I can't think of the term, but you want to have that constructive criticism.
Absolutely.
That unbiased kind of. So help me out with that.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you ask me is, how do you create an advisory board that is worth the title of an advisory board?
Yeah, it doesn't just give you, the
right.
yes crowd.
Your family and friends should be out there supporting you. And when you say it's awful, they're going to say, no, it's not. But what I consider to be an advisory board or a consultant board are people who are skilled in areas where you may not be as skilled in. For example, marketing is not my jam. So when I owned a business, I connected with people who had a strong marketing background. And on my advisory board, I also had someone who had a strong marketing background. The other thing that I did on my advisory board that I do recommend to small entrepreneurs and small business owners is I looked for someone who was not a direct competitor of me. I owned a restaurant. And so I had a couple colleagues that owned restaurants that were very similar to mine. One was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and one was in Rapid City. And they were on my advisory board. And what we did was we bounced ideas off of each other, marketing ideas, specials, different things to promote our businesses. We weren't direct competitors, but it helped me stay current within the industry. And it also helped me identify customer trends. And so if you know someone who is in the same business as you, but aren't direct competitors or even indirect competitors, so maybe not in the same community, hook up with them and ask them questions and offer to give them suggestions as well. That was one of the key things I think that I found most helpful on my advisory board, was creating not only support from my local accountant, financial advisor, banker, lawyer, those types of things, but also key people in the industry that have a direct in line to my customer base.
So here's something interesting, kind of maybe, I don't know if it's off the wall, but is there an actionable tip that you could have for someone that they could almost do immediately that might give them a turnaround, or might give them a change that they could see almost immediately?
Well, first of all, you have to have a media presence, a social media presence. And if you don't, you need to figure out how to have that. But second of all, I really think that spending a little time looking at your books and your numbers to really understand where your money is going, where your money is coming from, and making sure that you are aligning the right costs to your product, and making sure that you have the proper pricing in place. So we've all experienced this in the last couple of years, inflation of product prices. Entrepreneurs are the same. They're experiencing raising costs of the goods that they're selling. But it is oftentimes harder for the entrepreneur to raise that price. Okay. And so making sure that you are still meeting your margins, your gross profit margins, that they're in line, and also that you're in line with your competitors, just really focusing on those. So usually the two things that you need to do when you're struggling is either tighten up the expenses or get more revenue. Get more revenue, marketing, get your social media presence out there, reduce your expenses. What do you have that maybe is not essential to the quality of your service and product?
Very good. Did you have any questions over there?
No, I'm learning, soaking it all in.
Yeah, me too. That's why Phew, I had to double check with you.
Yeah, you had already asked the question, if somebody comes in with a dream and it's not financially feasible, that's kind of my gig,
Okay.
But yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And there are two other sources too that you can help people with too when they come in. If there are, different credit options or different, like there's the Grow South Dakota and all these other different options too that you have available depending on everyone's specific situation, right?
Right. One of the best things about the Small Business Development Center is that we have a vast network within the lending community and the economic development community. And so when an entrepreneur comes in and they're looking for financing, we can help them identify possible sources for that capital. We don't do the lending and we don't make any of the credit decisions or the lending decisions, but oftentimes it's just it's a scary process. And so just being able to talk with someone and being able to connect a business or a lender with a name is often less intimidating to make that contact for that entrepreneur.
Can you help the entrepreneurs with a list of financial, like accountants or advisors?
Absolutely. We don't recommend anyone specifically because that's not our role, but we do have a list of people that we work with and across the state. So it's not just in my region, it's across the state. We have a list of people that we can recommend. And oftentimes, we'll give the entrepreneur some 3 to 4 options based on what we have seen as experience for like lenders per se. We align closely with the SBA, and so a lot of lenders utilize the SBA 504 and the 7A programs. And so we have a list of lenders who are pretty aggressive on that, and so we can help identify those for our entrepreneurs. Great question.
Mm-hmm. See? You good. Well, how can people find you or how can they reach out to you if they do want more information?
Absolutely. So I brought my business card so Steve can share that online. But my phone number is 605-882-5115. You can connect with me there or email me. When Steve and I first talked about doing this type of program, one of the things that I told him is I just want it to be relevant and I want it to be able to impart things that people want to know, people want to hear. So I really do invite people to ask questions and help direct this radio program because really I'm here to serve you. The other thing that I want to point out too that we haven't talked about is that I'm free.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm free, free of charge.
Mm-hmm.
And so whether or not what I'm talking about really connects with what you feel like you need, reach out to me and I can get you to where you need to go. And again, I'm free.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And I am so honored and blessed to be able to do this free of charge and help individuals like this because we're one of the best kept secrets around because we are free. And I really truly believe in what we do, the work that we do, and I'm really honored to do it.
Well, and what's real nice is you don't say you're free and then do it till about 70% and then say if you want me to continue working with you, it'll be $48 a month, like every other free thing we've been signing up for.
Yeah, absolutely. Nope, I'm free.
Yeah. So I don't know how many subscriptions we've got now over the last 3 months, but everything is, free until you actually need to use it. So
yes,
that's amazing. And we've worked together on things and it's even just having an answer to a question, email, I'm not quite sure. Did I do this right? Or is this the next right step? Those those are priceless, really. So.
Absolutely. And if I can help in any way, that's really my jam. So I'm happy to answer questions. And I would appreciate if you have questions to email either Steve or I, and we can definitely address those questions throughout the program.
Yeah. We'll put all that information on there so people can reach out, and then we can prep it for the next show maybe. And we'll be doing this bi-weekly at the same time and same day. So then, hopefully we'll get some questions from some budding entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And maybe years from now, someone will say, wow, that show, now look, I'm a bajillionaire.
That would be nice.
Wouldn't it?
Remember us little people, right?
Yeah. Wink. So, still good, Doreen? Okay, good. All right. Well, Dr. Melissa Meidinger, thank you very much. So you're the Regional Director of the Small Business Development Center.
Correct.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for coming in and hooking up with us on this. I think it's awesome. And it is something everyone needs to know about, because we all do have dreams, and sometimes, you need to know if you might be on the right track or
Absolutely
need more work to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, and appreciate you coming in. So
thanks for having me.
You bet. Well, let's get back to some music, and that'll do it from Northeast Radio SD.